Imagine a life where you don't rely on anyone's approval, where your happiness doesn't depend on constant validation from others. Society tells women they need friends to survive, to be complete, to feel supported. But what if true power lies in embracing your own solitude? In this video, we're uncovering the truth about solitude, why a woman doesn't need friends to thrive, and how self-reliance, inner strength, and focus can make you unstoppable. This isn't about isolation. It's about freedom, clarity, and owning your life. Stay with me, because what you learn today could change everything. Redefining solitude. The first step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is redefining what solitude really means. Many people equate being alone with loneliness, emptiness, or social failure. Society has conditioned us to believe that companionship is mandatory for happiness, that friendship is the key to emotional stability. But solitude is not loneliness, it is freedom. It is the ability to enjoy your own company, to think clearly, and to make decisions without being swayed by others' opinions. Solitude allows a woman to reconnect with herself, understand her own desires, and develop an unshakable sense of identity. When you embrace solitude, you are choosing self-awareness over dependency. You begin to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and your unique values. You stop seeking validation from others because you recognize that your worth is intrinsic and not dependent on social approval. A woman who understands solitude is empowered to act according to her own principles, rather than being influenced by friends, peers, or societal pressure. Solitude also provides clarity. In the absence of constant social chatter and influence, the mind can reflect, evaluate, and plan without distraction. You can analyze your goals, consider your priorities, and make decisions that align with your long-term vision. This level of clarity is difficult to achieve when you are constantly surrounded by others, absorbing opinions, comparisons, and expectations. The quiet moments of solitude become fertile ground for strategic thinking and personal growth. Moreover, solitude fosters emotional resilience. When a woman is comfortable being alone, she learns to manage her emotions independently. She doesn't rely on friends to soothe her fears, cheer her up, or make her feel validated. This emotional self-reliance creates confidence, composure, and a deep sense of inner strength. Challenges, setbacks, and stressors are faced head-on, without seeking external support or reassurance. Over time, this builds a mindset of empowerment and autonomy, the foundation of true personal freedom. It's also important to note that solitude does not mean isolation or disengagement from the world. It means choosing quality over quantity in relationships and finding balance between social interaction and self-focus. A woman who embraces solitude learns to connect intentionally, valuing depth over superficiality in the few relationships she chooses to maintain. Finally, redefining solitude allows a woman to prioritize herself without guilt. She can invest time in personal growth, reflection, and purpose-driven action. Solitude becomes a tool for empowerment, a space where she discovers her passions, strengthens her mindset, and builds resilience. When she is comfortable in her own company, she becomes unstoppable, confident, focused, and free from the need to rely on friends for happiness or validation. Redefining solitude is the first step toward freedom. It's about understanding that being alone is not a weakness, it is a superpower. It is the foundation for self-reliance, clarity, and inner strength, allowing a woman to thrive independently and live life on her own terms. Freedom from external validation. The second step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is recognizing the power of freedom from external validation. Too often people, especially women, are conditioned to seek approval, affirmation, and recognition from others. Friendships, social circles, and online connections can unintentionally create pressure to conform, perform, or meet expectations. While support from friends can feel comforting, it can also subtly limit independence, dictate choices, and influence emotions. True empowerment comes when a woman realizes that her self-worth does not depend on anyone else's opinion. Freedom from external validation begins with self-awareness. A woman must first recognize how much she has allowed the opinions of others to shape her actions, decisions, or even her feelings. Every time you change yourself to gain acceptance, you surrender a piece of your freedom. When you stop seeking approval, you reclaim control over your life. You become the author of your own story, making decisions based on your values, desires, and goals rather than the expectations of friends or society. This freedom allows a woman to act with confidence. Without the need to constantly justify herself, she can pursue her ambitions boldly and unapologetically. Decisions about career, lifestyle, relationships, or personal growth are made with clarity and self-assurance. She no longer feels pressure to fit in, please others, or adhere to social norms that do not align with her vision. Every choice becomes deliberate, purposeful, and aligned with her authentic self. Furthermore, freedom from validation nurtures emotional stability. When your happiness is not dependent on others' reactions, praise, or acceptance, you are less vulnerable to disappointment, criticism, or envy. Solitude strengthens emotional resilience because you learn to comfort, motivate, and support yourself internally. You no longer look to friends to validate achievements or soothe insecurities because your internal sense of worth is self-sustained. Another important aspect is clarity of focus. When external validation is removed from the equation, distractions fade. A woman who is not preoccupied with what others think can dedicate her energy to personal growth, skill development, and achieving meaningful goals. This focus accelerates progress, strengthens independence, and enhances self-confidence, making every day productive and fulfilling. Finally, freedom from external validation creates a powerful sense of liberation. A woman who embraces this principle is untethered from social pressures, drama, or unnecessary comparisons. She stands firm in her choices, trusts her instincts, and moves through life with purpose. This independence is not isolation, it is empowerment. It allows a woman to thrive on her own terms, fully embracing her potential without compromise. Remember, seeking approval is a habit. Freedom from it is a practice. By letting go of the need for external validation, a woman discovers her true strength, confidence, and freedom. The second step to thriving in solitude is clear. Trust yourself, value your own judgment, and live without seeking approval. When you do this, independence becomes your superpower, and solitude transforms into a space of unstoppable growth. Focusing on self-growth. The third step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is focusing on self-growth. Solitude offers the perfect environment for personal development, uninterrupted reflection, and the cultivation of inner strength. While friendships can provide social support, they can also unintentionally consume time, energy, and attention that could otherwise be invested in becoming the best version of yourself. By prioritizing self-growth over social validation, a woman gains clarity, purpose, and the tools to thrive independently. Self-growth begins with self-awareness. Spending time alone allows you to evaluate your habits, strengths, weaknesses, and long-term goals. It creates a mirror for honest reflection. Without the noise of external opinions or peer influence, you can identify the areas where improvement is needed and design a plan to develop your skills, mindset, and emotional intelligence. This clarity of purpose becomes a foundation for consistent progress and lasting confidence. Solitude also provides uninterrupted time to pursue your passions and interests. Hobbies, learning, skill building, and creative endeavors all flourish when you are free from distractions. A woman who focuses on her growth develops expertise, confidence, and self-sufficiency, all of which make her unstoppable in life. Every hour spent refining your abilities is an investment in your independence and long-term success. Another aspect of self-growth is mental and emotional development. Solitude allows a woman to process her emotions, reflect on past experiences, and strengthen resilience. She learns to navigate challenges without relying on external validation or support, which builds emotional intelligence and fortitude. This self-reliance ensures that she remains centered, composed, and empowered even during difficult times. Focusing on self-growth also encourages deliberate goal setting. Without the influence of friends' expectations, you can define what success means for you and pursue it without compromise. You develop a roadmap for personal achievement, prioritize what truly matters, and remain committed to your vision. Each small accomplishment reinforces your self-esteem, creating momentum that propels you toward greater goals. Moreover, self-growth fosters independence and self-confidence. When a woman invests in herself, she no longer fears being alone or isolated. She understands that her value is intrinsic and her happiness is self-generated. Friends may come and go, but the skills, knowledge, and resilience she builds through self-growth remain permanent and empowering. Finally, focusing on self-growth transforms solitude from a state of being alone into a powerful tool for personal mastery. A woman who embraces this principle doesn't see herself as lonely. She sees herself as evolving, empowered, and in control of her life. She understands that investing in herself is not selfish, it's essential. Remember, the most powerful version of yourself emerges when you prioritize growth over social approval. The third step to thriving in solitude is to dedicate time, energy, and focus to developing your mind, skills, and character. When you do this, you become unstoppable, independent, and ready to conquer life on your own terms. Escaping drama and toxicity. The fourth step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is recognizing the power of escaping drama and toxicity. Friendships, while often celebrated as sources of support and joy, can sometimes become a burden. Many social interactions are filled with gossip, jealousy, passive aggression, and unrealistic expectations. These dynamics drain energy, create unnecessary stress, and distract a woman from her goals. Solitude offers a sanctuary, a space free from emotional turbulence, where focus, clarity, and peace of mind can flourish. Toxic friendships often arise from imbalance. One-sided relationships, constant criticism, or excessive comparison can chip away at confidence and self-esteem. A woman who remains in such dynamics may feel compelled to manage others' emotions, accommodate unreasonable demands, or conform to group norms. This constant energy drain leaves little room for personal growth, self-reflection, or meaningful achievement. By choosing solitude, she steps away from negativity and reclaiming her mental and emotional space. Drama can also manifest subtly. Even well-intentioned friends can introduce anxiety, distraction, or pressure by sharing complaints, creating competition, or projecting their insecurities. Solitude acts as a filter, allowing a woman to evaluate which influences serve her and which deplete her. When free from these distractions, she can focus her energy on progress, goal achievement, and self-care. Escaping toxicity does not mean isolating yourself completely. It means being selective about the relationships you engage in and creating boundaries that protect your energy. A woman who embraces solitude develops the discernment to recognize who deserves her time and who doesn't. She learns that not every social connection is beneficial and that her well-being comes first. Solitude also provides clarity in navigating social dynamics. When alone, you have time to reflect on past interactions, understand recurring patterns, and recognize unhealthy behaviors. This self-awareness equips you to make better choices in future relationships, ensuring that when you do connect with others, those relationships are empowering rather than draining. Additionally, escaping drama fosters inner peace. Without constant exposure to conflicts, criticism, or gossip, the mind becomes calm and focused. This mental clarity enables better decision-making, increased productivity, and a sense of emotional freedom that is hard to achieve when constantly entangled in social complications. Finally, avoiding toxicity and drama is an act of self-respect. It demonstrates that a woman values her energy, time, and emotional well-being above pleasing others or maintaining superficial bonds. Solitude is a statement. She doesn't need external validation or approval to feel complete. Remember, life is too short to be consumed by unnecessary conflict, jealousy, or emotional manipulation. The fourth step to thriving in solitude is to step away from drama, protect your energy, and prioritize peace of mind. By doing this, a woman creates an environment where focus, growth, and empowerment become natural, turning solitude into a source of strength rather than isolation. Developing independence. The sixth step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is developing true independence. Independence is more than financial stability or self-sufficiency. It is a mindset, a way of living that allows a woman to navigate life confidently without reliance on others for validation, support, or decision-making. Solitude is the fertile ground where independence flourishes, providing the space to discover personal strengths, build resilience, and embrace self-reliance in every aspect of life. Developing independence begins with self-trust. When a woman spends time alone, she learns to rely on her own judgment and instincts. Decisions about her career, lifestyle, relationships, or personal growth are made with confidence and clarity, free from external pressures or influence. This self-trust fosters courage, allowing her to take risks, pursue ambitions, and create opportunities without hesitation or fear of judgment. Financial and practical independence are also key aspects. By managing her own resources, time, and responsibilities, a woman strengthens her autonomy. She learns to provide for herself, solve problems proactively, and take charge of her environment. This ability to handle life's practical challenges without dependency not only increases confidence but also frees mental and emotional energy for personal growth and achievement. Emotional independence is equally critical. A woman who thrives in solitude develops the capacity to regulate her own emotions, manage stress, and maintain inner peace without relying on friends for comfort or validation. Emotional resilience is a hallmark of independence. She faces challenges head-on, finds solutions within herself, and grows stronger from every experience. This independence ensures that external circumstances or social interactions do not dictate her happiness or sense of self-worth. Independence also fosters clarity and focus. When a woman is not distracted by the opinions, expectations, or drama of others, she can dedicate her energy to her goals and personal development. She becomes intentional in her actions, setting priorities aligned with her vision rather than reacting to social pressures. This focus accelerates growth and allows her to achieve milestones faster and more effectively. Another benefit of independence is empowerment. A woman who relies on herself for guidance, support, and validation exudes confidence. She commands respect because she demonstrates that her happiness, achievements, and life trajectory are self-directed. Independence is magnetic. It draws admiration and opens doors to meaningful opportunities, while simultaneously discouraging dependence or unnecessary interference from others. Finally, developing independence is a journey, not a destination. Every choice made, every problem solved, and every moment spent in solitude strengthens a woman's ability to thrive alone. Independence is a superpower that allows her to live life on her terms, pursue her passions fearlessly, and embrace her unique strengths without compromise. Remember, relying on yourself is not selfish, it is essential. The sixth step to thriving in solitude is to cultivate independence in every area of life: mental, emotional, practical, and financial. By doing this, a woman transforms solitude into a source of empowerment, resilience, and unstoppable growth, proving that she doesn't need friends to define her strength or her success. Prioritizing goals over social life. The seventh step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is prioritizing goals over social life. While friendships can be enriching, they often come with distractions, obligations, and expectations that consume time and energy. A woman who embraces solitude gains the freedom to focus on her ambitions, dedicate herself to growth, and align her daily actions with her long-term vision. By prioritizing personal goals over social validation, she becomes intentional, productive, and empowered to achieve success on her own terms. Prioritizing goals begins with clarity. A woman must define what she truly wants in life, whether it's professional success, personal growth, financial independence, or emotional fulfillment. Once these objectives are clear, she can make decisions that consistently move her closer to them. Solitude allows the space to reflect, plan, and strategize without being influenced by the opinions, habits, or expectations of friends. Social obligations, while often well-meaning, can subtly derail focus. Events, gatherings, and constant communication demand energy that could otherwise be spent on meaningful pursuits. By choosing solitude, a woman protects her time and energy, ensuring that each day is aligned with her priorities. This does not mean avoiding connection entirely, but rather being deliberate about when and how she engages socially. Every interaction becomes intentional rather than habitual. Prioritizing goals also cultivates discipline. When a woman consistently puts her objectives above social distractions, she trains herself to stay focused, avoid procrastination, and take consistent action. This discipline strengthens self-confidence and accelerates progress, proving that success is not a product of luck or external support, but of deliberate effort and focus. Solitude further enables deep work and uninterrupted focus. Without constant social noise, a woman can concentrate fully on her projects, learning, and personal development. This level of focus leads to higher productivity, creativity, and problem-solving ability. Every hour invested in herself compounds over time, bringing her closer to her aspirations while others may still be consumed by superficial social obligations. Additionally, prioritizing goals enhances self-respect. By choosing purpose over social approval, a woman communicates to herself and the world that her time and energy are valuable. She doesn't sacrifice her ambitions to fit in or please others. This mindset strengthens independence and reinforces the idea that her life trajectory is self-determined. Finally, focusing on goals over social life builds a sense of fulfillment. Achievements, growth, and progress provide lasting satisfaction that superficial social validation cannot match. A woman who aligns her daily actions with her vision experiences a profound sense of purpose, inner peace, and empowerment. Remember, life is finite, and energy is precious. The seventh step to thriving in solitude is to prioritize your goals above social distractions. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a powerhouse of productivity, focus, and personal achievement, proving that true fulfillment comes from self-directed growth rather than dependence on friendships. Cultivating inner peace. The eighth step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is cultivating inner peace. In a world full of noise, social obligations, and constant external demands, finding calm and stability within oneself is a superpower. Many friendships, while seemingly supportive, can introduce stress, conflict, or subtle pressure. Solitude provides the sanctuary where a woman can disconnect from distractions, quiet her mind, and nurture a sense of serenity that is independent of external circumstances. Inner peace is the foundation of clarity, confidence, and strength. It allows a woman to thrive without relying on friends for emotional balance. Cultivating inner peace begins with self-awareness. When a woman spends time alone, she can observe her thoughts, emotions, and reactions without judgment. This reflection helps her identify sources of stress, habitual patterns, and emotional triggers that may have gone unnoticed in a busy social environment. By recognizing these patterns, she can consciously release negativity, avoid unnecessary drama, and create mental and emotional space for calmness and focus. Meditation, mindfulness, and intentional solitude are powerful tools in cultivating inner peace. Even a few minutes each day of silent reflection can reset the mind, improve focus, and reduce anxiety. A woman who practices solitude regularly learns to respond to life's challenges thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively to external pressures. This emotional regulation builds resilience and reinforces a sense of autonomy, demonstrating that she does not need friends to validate or stabilize her emotions. Solitude also allows a woman to reconnect with her core values and purpose. Without the constant influence of others, she can reflect on what truly matters, set boundaries, and make decisions that align with her authentic self. This alignment reduces internal conflict and fosters harmony, creating a stable foundation for personal growth and achievement. Another critical aspect of inner peace is detachment from social comparison. Many friendships subtly encourage competition, envy, or insecurity, which can disturb emotional balance. Solitude removes this influence, enabling a woman to appreciate her own journey, progress, and accomplishments without measuring them against others. This self-contentment is a vital ingredient in emotional maturity and long-term fulfillment. Furthermore, cultivating inner peace enhances decision-making. A calm and focused mind is better equipped to analyze situations, solve problems, and pursue goals without distraction. Solitude provides the mental clarity to make strategic choices that serve personal growth rather than appease social expectations or maintain superficial relationships. Finally, inner peace empowers a woman to live independently and confidently. It allows her to enjoy her own company, celebrate her achievements, and navigate life without external validation. This serenity becomes a shield against negativity, stress, and unnecessary drama, proving that solitude is not loneliness. It is a gateway to empowerment, resilience, and strength. Remember, inner peace is not a luxury. It is a necessity for a fulfilled and powerful life. The eighth step to thriving in solitude is to cultivate calm, clarity, and emotional stability. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a sanctuary of strength, proving that true happiness and empowerment come from within, not from the company of friends. Enhancing creativity and insight. The ninth step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is enhancing creativity and insight. Solitude is a powerful catalyst for innovation, original thinking, and profound self-discovery. While social interactions can be enriching, they often come with distractions, opinions, and expectations that dilute personal focus and creative energy. By embracing alone time, a woman creates a mental space where ideas can flourish, insights can deepen, and her unique vision can emerge unfiltered. Solitude is not emptiness. It is fertile ground for imagination, reflection, and the growth of intellectual and emotional intelligence. Creativity begins with freedom. A woman who spends time alone is free to explore thoughts, interests, and possibilities without judgment or interruption. Without the pressure to conform to social norms, she can experiment, take risks, and express herself authentically. This freedom encourages innovation, whether in professional projects, personal hobbies, or problem-solving, allowing her to develop solutions and ideas that are entirely her own. Insight develops through reflection. In solitude, a woman has the time to review experiences, analyze patterns, and connect seemingly unrelated ideas. This process deepens understanding and cultivates wisdom. She learns from successes and mistakes alike, gaining clarity about her purpose, values, and goals. Friends and social influences can sometimes cloud judgment or introduce bias, but solitude allows for pure, unbiased reflection, sharpening mental acuity and emotional intelligence. Many of the world's most successful and creative women have thrived because they embraced solitude. Alone time encourages deep thinking and sustained focus, both of which are essential for breakthroughs in any area of life. It is during these moments of quiet and self-reflection that a woman can access her intuition, discover hidden talents, and envision possibilities that might not surface in the presence of constant social noise. Solitude also promotes problem-solving skills. When faced with challenges, a woman who is comfortable being alone learns to rely on her own judgment, analyze situations critically, and develop strategies independently. She becomes resourceful, self-reliant, and confident in her ability to navigate complex circumstances without leaning on others for guidance or approval. Another benefit of solitude is the development of originality. In a world where social influence is strong, it is easy to adopt the ideas, behaviors, or preferences of others. Time alone fosters independence of thought, enabling a woman to form opinions, make decisions, and create without imitation. This originality enhances personal identity, professional impact, and the ability to contribute meaningfully in any sphere. Finally, Enhancing creativity and insight through solitude builds confidence and empowerment. When a woman realizes that she can generate ideas, solve problems, and create value independently, she understands that her worth is intrinsic. She no longer needs friends to validate her intellect, achievements, or vision. She trusts herself and her abilities. Remember, solitude is a tool, not a punishment. The ninth step to thriving in solitude is to embrace alone time as a space for creativity, reflection, and discovery. By doing this, a woman transforms her solitude into a powerhouse of ideas, innovation, and insight, proving that true brilliance often emerges when she trusts herself, works independently, and honors her inner vision. Building self-love. The 10th step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is building self-love. True empowerment begins with an unshakable love for oneself, a recognition that happiness, fulfillment, and worth come from within, not from the approval or companionship of others. Many women spend years seeking validation from friends, social groups, or romantic partners, only to discover that external sources of love are unreliable, conditional, and often fleeting. Solitude provides the space to cultivate self-love, strengthen personal confidence, and nurture an inner foundation that no one can shake. Self-love begins with acceptance. In solitude, a woman can observe herself without judgment, embracing both her strengths and her imperfections. She learns to appreciate her achievements, acknowledge her struggles, and forgive her mistakes. This deep self-acceptance forms the cornerstone of self-love, allowing her to see herself as complete and valuable, independent of any external affirmation. Solitude also enables self-discovery. By spending time alone, a woman uncovers her passions, desires, and purpose. She can explore hobbies, set meaningful goals, and make choices that align with her authentic self. This self-awareness reinforces self-love, because every decision, action, and accomplishment becomes a reflection of her personal values and aspirations rather than a response to social expectations. Another crucial aspect of building self-love is self-care. In solitude, a woman can prioritize her physical, mental, and emotional well-being. She can create routines, establish boundaries, and engage in practices that nourish her body, mind, and spirit. By investing in herself consistently, she demonstrates self-respect and reinforces the belief that her happiness and health are her responsibility, not anyone else's. Self-love also strengthens resilience. A woman who loves herself is less susceptible to criticism, rejection, or disappointment. She develops an inner security that allows her to face challenges confidently and recover quickly from setbacks. Emotional stability grows when she trusts her own worth and does not rely on friends or social validation to feel complete. Furthermore, building self-love fosters empowerment. A woman who truly loves herself no longer tolerates toxic relationships, unnecessary drama, or social pressures that compromise her well-being. She chooses what aligns with her values, stands firm in her decisions, and communicates her needs without fear. This independence radiates confidence and commands respect. Finally, self-love enhances life satisfaction. When a woman is content with herself, she experiences joy, fulfillment, and peace, regardless of her social circle. Solitude becomes a sanctuary, a place to recharge, reflect, and grow into the person she is meant to be. She realizes that friendships are optional, not essential, and that her happiness and purpose are firmly rooted within her. Remember, self-love is not selfish. It is foundational. The 10th step to thriving in solitude is to embrace your own worth, invest in yourself, and cultivate a deep, unwavering love that cannot be shaken by others. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a source of empowerment, confidence, and fulfillment, proving that when you love yourself, you need no one else to complete you. Strengthening emotional resilience. The 11th step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is strengthening emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. While friends can offer comfort and advice, they cannot carry the weight of your emotions for you. Solitude is the environment where emotional resilience is cultivated, where a woman learns to face her feelings, process them, and emerge stronger. Emotional resilience allows her to navigate life's storms independently, maintaining stability, clarity, and confidence without relying on external validation or support. Emotional resilience begins with self-reflection. When alone, a woman can honestly assess her emotional responses, understand the root of her feelings, and recognize patterns that may have previously gone unnoticed. This awareness provides insight into how she reacts under pressure and equips her with strategies to handle stress, disappointment, or conflict constructively. Solitude allows her to confront emotions without distraction or judgment, fostering a deep understanding of her own mind and heart. Facing emotions alone also promotes accountability. A woman learns to take responsibility for her happiness and mental state, realizing that she cannot outsource her well-being to friends or social connections. This ownership cultivates independence and inner strength. She discovers that she has the power to soothe herself, adapt to challenges, and maintain composure even in difficult circumstances. Resilience is strengthened through practice. Regularly spending time alone, processing thoughts and emotions, and solving problems without outside interference builds mental fortitude. Each challenge faced in solitude becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, more self-reliant, and more confident in her ability to handle life independently. Over time, these experiences create a robust emotional foundation that is unshakable, no matter the external circumstances. Another key benefit of emotional resilience is clarity in decision-making. A woman who has learned to manage her emotions independently can think logically, act strategically, and avoid impulsive reactions driven by fear, anger, or social pressure. Solitude provides the mental space necessary to assess situations calmly, weigh options, and make choices aligned with her long-term goals. Emotional resilience also reduces dependency on others for validation, support, or comfort. A woman who thrives in solitude understands that her strength and happiness are self-generated. She does not seek reassurance from friends or rely on their approval to feel secure. Instead, she develops an unwavering sense of self-worth and emotional stability that allows her to navigate relationships and life challenges with confidence. Finally, emotional resilience is a cornerstone of personal empowerment. It transforms solitude from loneliness into a source of strength, enabling a woman to handle setbacks, pursue her goals fearlessly, and live life on her own terms. She realizes that true strength comes not from relying on friends, but from cultivating inner fortitude, independence, and self-trust. Remember, emotional resilience is earned, not given. The 11th step to thriving in solitude is to confront your emotions, practice self-reliance, and build a strong inner foundation. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a sanctuary of strength, ensuring that no challenge, no criticism, and no external circumstance can undermine her confidence or peace of mind. Mastering self-discipline. The 12th step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is mastering self-discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievements, between dreams and reality. While friends can offer support or motivation, they cannot instill the habits, routines, and consistency required to achieve personal success. Solitude provides the environment to cultivate self-discipline, where a woman can structure her life intentionally, focus on her priorities, and follow through on commitments without external pressure or distraction. Mastering self-discipline begins with clarity of purpose. A woman must define her goals, values, and long-term vision. Solitude allows her to reflect deeply on what she truly wants in life, independent of social influence. This clarity makes it easier to resist distractions, avoid procrastination, and commit fully to actions that align with her objectives. When you know what you want, every decision, task, and effort becomes intentional, and discipline flows naturally from purpose. Routine is a cornerstone of self-discipline. By creating structured habits, a woman strengthens consistency and reliability in her actions. Solitude offers the space to implement and maintain these routines without interference or deviation caused by social obligations. Whether it's exercising, learning new skills, working on professional projects, or meditating, disciplined habits compound over time, leading to exponential growth and long-term success. Self-discipline also nurtures focus. Without the constant presence of friends, social events, or peer expectations, a woman can concentrate on what truly matters. Focused effort allows her to tackle challenges efficiently, achieve milestones faster, and dedicate energy to meaningful pursuits rather than trivial distractions. This focused approach cultivates competence, confidence, and a sense of control over her life. Another essential aspect of self-discipline is accountability to oneself. A woman who thrives in solitude learns to hold herself responsible for her actions, decisions, and outcomes. She understands that success is earned through consistent effort, perseverance, and self-regulation, not through external validation or encouragement. This internal accountability strengthens self-reliance and empowers her to stay committed even when motivation wanes or obstacles arise. Self-discipline also promotes resilience. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are inevitable, but a disciplined mindset allows a woman to persist regardless of difficulties. She develops patience, adaptability, and determination, qualities that ensure progress continues even in the absence of external support. Over time, disciplined practice transforms potential into achievement, ambition into results, and dreams into reality. Finally, mastering self-discipline is a profound form of self-respect. It demonstrates that a woman values her time, energy, and potential enough to commit fully to her growth. Solitude becomes a training ground for personal mastery, where independence, focus, and persistence are nurtured, ultimately proving that she doesn't need friends to succeed or validate her journey. Remember, discipline is the secret weapon of success. The 12th step to thriving in solitude is to cultivate habits, focus your energy, and hold yourself accountable. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a powerful engine of growth, achievement, and self-mastery, strengthening decision-making skills. The 13th step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is strengthening decision-making skills. Every day, life presents countless choices, from small everyday decisions to major life-changing ones. While friends can offer advice or opinions, relying too heavily on others can lead to indecision, compromise, or choices that don't align with personal values. Solitude provides the environment to develop clarity, confidence, and independence in decision-making, enabling a woman to trust her judgment and take control of her life. Strengthening decision-making begins with self-trust. A woman who spends time alone learns to listen to her instincts, evaluate options critically, and weigh consequences thoughtfully. She gains confidence in her ability to choose wisely, understanding that her happiness and progress depend on decisions she makes for herself rather than the influence or approval of friends. Solitude allows her to cultivate this trust without external noise or pressure. Decision-making also improves with reflection. Alone time gives a woman the opportunity to analyze past choices, learn from mistakes, and identify patterns in her decision-making process. This reflection enhances awareness, sharpens judgment, and provides valuable insights that guide future decisions. By understanding her own thought processes and priorities, she becomes more deliberate and strategic in her choices. Another benefit of solitude is the development of emotional clarity. Decisions are often clouded by fear, doubt, or the desire to please others. In solitude, a woman can approach choices calmly and rationally without being swayed by peer expectations, social pressure, or transient emotions. This clarity ensures that her decisions align with her long-term goals and values, rather than external influences or short-term gratification. Strengthening decision-making also fosters accountability. A woman who makes choices independently learns to accept responsibility for the outcomes, whether they are successes or setbacks. This accountability reinforces resilience, problem-solving skills, and the ability to adapt when things don't go as planned. Each decision becomes a stepping stone for personal growth and self-reliance. Moreover, solitude encourages boldness and risk-taking. When a woman is not constrained by others' opinions, she can explore unconventional paths, take calculated risks, and pursue opportunities that align with her vision. Independence in decision-making empowers her to act decisively, innovate, and embrace challenges without hesitation. Finally, mastering decision-making transforms a woman's life. It instills confidence, reduces dependence on social validation, and ensures that she is the architect of her own destiny. Solitude becomes a training ground where critical thinking, self-awareness, and strategic planning converge, creating a foundation for empowered and intentional living. Remember, your life is shaped by the decisions you make. The 13th step to thriving in solitude is to trust your judgment, reflect deeply, and take ownership of your choices. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a source of empowerment, proving that independence and clarity in decision-making are far more valuable than external advice or validation. Embracing personal growth. The 14th step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is embracing personal growth. True empowerment comes from a commitment to constantly evolve, learn, and improve oneself. While friends can offer companionship and support, they cannot replace the deep, transformative work that comes from self-reflection, discipline, and deliberate effort. Solitude provides the ideal environment to focus entirely on personal development, allowing a woman to cultivate skills, mindset, and resilience that propel her toward her highest potential. Embracing personal growth begins with self-awareness. Alone time allows a woman to examine her habits, strengths, weaknesses, and patterns without distraction or judgment. She can identify areas that need improvement, set meaningful goals, and take deliberate steps to enhance her abilities. This reflective practice fosters insight, enabling her to make choices that align with her values and aspirations. Continuous learning is a key component of personal growth. In solitude, a woman can dedicate time to reading, studying, experimenting, and exploring new perspectives. Without the influence or distraction of friends, she can pursue knowledge at her own pace and according to her interests. This intellectual independence strengthens confidence, broadens understanding, and cultivates curiosity, making her adaptable and resourceful in all areas of life. Personal growth also involves developing emotional intelligence. Solitude provides the opportunity to process experiences, recognize emotional triggers, and understand the impact of thoughts and behaviors. By reflecting on emotions and responses, a woman learns patience, empathy, and self-regulation. These skills not only enhance her relationships when she chooses to engage socially, but also deepen her understanding of herself and her purpose. Another aspect of embracing growth is overcoming fear and stepping out of comfort zones. Alone, a woman can confront challenges, test her limits, and pursue goals without the need for approval or reassurance. Solitude encourages courage, resilience, and a willingness to take risks, qualities essential for personal transformation. By facing challenges independently, she builds confidence that no external validation can provide. Consistency and discipline play a vital role in growth. Solitude allows a woman to develop routines, set priorities, and focus on long-term objectives without the interruptions that social engagements often bring. By committing to daily actions that support growth, she turns small steps into significant progress over time. Finally, embracing personal growth fosters self-empowerment. A woman who prioritizes her evolution understands that her life is her responsibility. She recognizes that friends and social circles may come and go, but the skills, mindset, and confidence she develops remain with her forever. Solitude becomes a sanctuary where transformation is nurtured and personal power is cultivated. Remember, growth is intentional, not accidental. The 14th step to thriving in solitude is to dedicate yourself to learning, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a journey of empowerment, resilience, and limitless potential, proving that her greatest ally is always herself. Celebrating self-sufficiency. The 15th step to understanding why a woman doesn't need friends is celebrating self-sufficiency. True empowerment is found when a woman realizes that she is complete on her own, that her happiness, fulfillment, and growth do not depend on others. While friendships can offer joy and companionship, they are not essential for a meaningful life. Solitude provides the opportunity to recognize personal strength, honor independence, and embrace a lifestyle where self-reliance is a source of pride rather than isolation. Self-sufficiency begins with recognizing your own capabilities. A woman who spends time alone discovers that she can handle challenges, make important decisions, and navigate life successfully without relying on friends. This realization instills confidence and reinforces the belief that she is capable, competent, and strong. Every obstacle overcome independently is a testament to her resilience and determination. Celebrating self-sufficiency also involves acknowledging achievements. Alone, a woman can reflect on her successes, growth, and progress without the need for external validation. This self-recognition strengthens her self-esteem and creates a positive feedback loop, motivating her to continue striving for personal excellence. By celebrating her abilities and milestones privately, she internalizes a sense of accomplishment that is deeper and more enduring than external praise. Self-sufficiency fosters freedom. When a woman relies primarily on herself, she is liberated from the expectations, obligations, and pressures that often come with social relationships. This freedom allows her to make choices that align with her values, priorities, and long-term goals. She can invest her energy where it truly matters, pursue passions unapologetically, and live life on her own terms. Another vital aspect of celebrating self-sufficiency is emotional independence. A woman who thrives alone learns to manage her emotions, find comfort within herself, and maintain balance regardless of external circumstances. This emotional stability ensures that she is not swayed by peer opinions, criticism, or social dynamics, allowing her to approach life with confidence, clarity, and calm. Self-sufficiency also builds resilience. When a woman knows she can rely on herself, setbacks and challenges become opportunities for growth rather than sources of despair. Each challenge navigated independently strengthens her ability to persevere, adapt, and thrive in any situation. Solitude becomes a laboratory for resilience, teaching lessons that no friendship or social guidance could replicate. Finally, celebrating self-sufficiency is about embracing empowerment. It is the acknowledgement that a woman's life, joy, and purpose are her own responsibility and her own creation. Solitude becomes a powerful ally, a space where she nurtures strength, cultivates wisdom, and affirms that she has everything she needs within herself to live fully, confidently, and meaningfully. Remember, self-sufficiency is a celebration of your power, independence, and inner strength. The 15th step to thriving in solitude is to honor your abilities, embrace independence, and recognize that you are enough. By doing this, a woman transforms her alone time into a life of empowerment, proving that the greatest relationship she will ever have is the one with herself. As we come to the end of this journey, it's clear that a woman doesn't need friends to thrive. She needs herself. Solitude is not loneliness. It is the most powerful tool for growth, self-discovery, and empowerment. Every step we've discussed, from understanding boundaries, embracing independence, and cultivating inner peace, to building self-love, emotional resilience, and self-discipline, leads to one undeniable truth. Your greatest ally, your truest support system, and your ultimate source of strength reside within you. When a woman learns to honor her own company, she frees herself from the limitations of social validation. She no longer seeks approval, comparison, or reassurance from friends to feel worthy or complete. Instead, she trusts her instincts, follows her purpose, and celebrates her achievements on her own terms. Solitude transforms from an empty space into a sanctuary of focus, clarity, and power, where dreams are nurtured and personal potential is fully realized. The path of independence is not always easy. It requires courage to face emotions alone, resilience to overcome challenges, and determination to prioritize personal growth over social expectations. Yet, every effort spent in solitude compounds into confidence, wisdom, and self-reliance. A woman who masters the art of being alone becomes unstoppable. She discovers that fulfillment is not found in others' presence, but in her own mastery over her mind, emotions, and life. Solitude also sharpens decision-making, enhances creativity, and strengthens self-discipline. With focus undisturbed by external influences, a woman hones her skills, embraces her passions, and builds a life that reflects her true values. She learns that independence is not isolation, it is empowerment. She understands that while friends may come and go, the relationship with herself is lifelong, constant, and infinitely rewarding. By celebrating self-sufficiency, a woman affirms her worth and capability. She acknowledges that happiness, growth, and success are products of her own efforts. Every goal she achieves, every challenge she overcomes, every lesson she learns in solitude is a testament to her strength, determination, and resilience. She becomes a living example of empowerment, demonstrating that life can be fully lived without dependency on others. As we conclude, remember this: your solitude is your superpower, your independence is your strength, your self-reliance is your freedom. Embrace the power within you, trust yourself, grow relentlessly, celebrate your own company. When you master being alone, you master life. So step into your solitude with courage, focus, and love for yourself, because the most powerful woman you will ever know is already within you. Let the world witness your strength, not through your friendships, but through the life you build, the choices you make, and the power you carry, all on your own. Ending hook lines. You are your own greatest friend. You are your own strongest ally. Embrace solitude and watch the woman within rise unstoppable, unshakable, and unstoppable.